Okay, Shalom Aleichem. We got things taken care of. Now let's take a look at this is Parshas Pinchos from the sefer Rav Shalom, part 2. So we're saying the Torah said, "Ish ki yamos uvein ein lo." If a man he dies and he doesn't have a son, Rav Shalom or she'ein lo Torah. It means the Baal Rav Shalom says that he doesn't have Torah and Mitzvos, Ma'asim Tovim, Shenikra Bain. So the Torah is called, the Torah and the Mitzvos are called Bain. It says here for the Torah, it's called Bain. It's called the son. Azayim al kol panim yesh lo bas. But if he has a daughter, Hainu hayira, Shenikra bas. But if he does have a daughter, which is the Yiras Shomayim that he has, that not to do things that shouldn't be done, etc. The thing, he's very zohir, he's very careful not to do things that should not be done. That's called the bas. Hayira shenikros bas. If he does have bas, the daughter, we have artem es nachalaso, that he does not do. He's very zohir, he's very studious not to do things that he shouldn't be doing. Yiras Hashem. So you should go and pass his nachla, his achuza, his inheritance to his daughter. Hainu nachalas olam habo b'shvil hayira. Hainu nachalas olam habo b'shvil hayira. So in other words, this is his olam habo, his world to come, because of the Yira, because of his being careful not to do the mitzvos lo say. So that means he will have a nachala. This person will have a nachala, will have an inheritance of olam haba, b'shvil hayira, because of the Yira, because he's a studious not to do things that he should not be doing, not doing the mitzvos lo say. So he will have a nachala because of his bas, because of the daughter, because of the Yira. Aval im gam bas ein lo, if he does not have a daughter, she'ein lo Torah v'lo Yira, that he does not have chas v'shalom, he does not have she'ein lo Torah v'lo Yira. He doesn't have either one of the two. He doesn't have the Torah and the good, the positive, the Torah and the Mitzvos for Yirah. He does not have, God forbid, the fear also. Azai avartem es nachlaso, mashiach lo ma'at liyochiv. So then we have avartem es nachlaso, and you should pass his nachla, his inheritance, mashiach lo ma'at, what the little that he has liyochiv, to his brothers. Kigam hama'at sheyesh lo tinosein lachirim. The small part that he does have is given to others. You do like it's known. It takes from the Russia. Russia means an evil person. It gives to the good person, to the real good tzaddik, to the real, not apparent tzaddikim, but to the real tzaddik. Okay, from the Russia, so it's taken from the Russia, God forbid, and v'nosnim lahat tzaddik, give to the tzaddik, the ones that are really sincere in doing the work of Hashem, and to lahat tzaddik. V'yayin haGemara, it says in the Gemara, bas techila hainu yira siman tov lebanim laTorah. It says in the Gemara, bas techila. It says. Bas techila, the daughter first. Tainu Yira, which means the bas is talking about the Yira, the Yira, the fear that one has of going against Hashem and the Torah. God forbid. Siman tov lebanim laTorah. This is a siman tov. It's a good siman, a good sign for lebanim laTorah, for the sons and laTorah to. Okay, Simon Tov the Banim la Torah. B'Shem, in the name of B'Shem Shev Shmaitita. That's the name of the Shev Shmaitita. That's a certain sefer. V'ayin Gemara Shabbos. V'ayin, and look in Gemara Shabbos, Daf Lamed Aleph, in the 31st daf. Hamashal shehayira hi ha'ikar al yidei sham. Hamashal shehayira hi ha'ikar. Oh, it says in the Gemara Shabbos, Daf Lamed Aleph, it says that we can look it up. Yiras Hashem, one day, Bli Neder, Daf Lamed Aleph, or you can look it up in the Gemara. That's in the Gemara Shabbos in the Talmud. Daf Lamed Aleph, that's the 31. Hamashal shehayira hi ha'ikar. That the yira, the not doing what one should not be doing, that's the ikar, that's the main thing. Yivkod Hashem Elokecha ruchos l'chol basor, ish al ha'ida. So Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, his daven to Hashem, and he said, Yivkod Hashem Elokecha ruchos. Hashem, please appoint you the guide of the ruchos, of the winds and the spirit and everything, the chol basar, of every person, of every flesh, of all the flesh of the people. Ish aloeda. Please, Hashem, appoint a person on the congregation that will continue in the leadership. Ayin Parshas Bereshis, see in Parshas Bereshis. Masha Marti Binyan Zeh, what he said in the Rav said, Binyan Zibug Gashmi Shehem Shnei Apchiim. This has to do with Zibug Gashmi, that's the marriage, which is Shnei Apchiim, two different sides. Benosei echod v'chein hi b'inyan harabanos. It has to do with rabbanos, with being a rabbi of a congregation, rabbanos. Shetzorich sheyi eteva shel hamanhig shave v'domer leteva ha'am. That's the teva, that the nature of the person that's leading the congregation should be similar and equal to the nature of the people. Says there should not be machlokas, there should not be any fighting, because if they're two different tevayim, two different natures, then there could be some fighting, and that's a bad thing. Machlokas is a very bad thing. Chas v'shalom. Umikol makom tzarich sheyiyeh teva shelo misnaged l'tiva but nevertheless also tzarich sheyiyeh teva shelo. His teva, the manhig, the leader's teva, should also be against the rest of the congregations, their nature. In other words, he cannot be like a rubber stamp for what they want to do. He can't be a yes man, so to speak. Sheim lo kain lo yuchlu laholid bnim sheim mitzvos u'maisim tovim. Because if not, then they wouldn't be able to have bnim. That's the sons. Sheim mitzvos u'maisim tovim, which are mitzvos u'maisim tovim. Because let's say the olam, the congregation, is not learning. The manhig, the one that's taking care of the congregation, has to say to people, we should start learning. Let's make a learning group. We should have lectures, and so this way you don't just let people go the way they feel like going. So the manhig has to be also able to go against the nature of the congregation. Has to stand up and say, let's do the mitzvos, let's do what we have to do. Okay. If he's not like this, if he will not stand up, then they would not be able to have children, have sons. And we say sons are, in this case, in this allegory, means sons. Banim is the Torah and the Mitzvos. Shem Mitzvos u'Ma'asim Tovim, which are the Mitzvos and the Ma'asim Tovim. That's the son. In other words, the manig has to be able to get up and say what has to be done for the congregation. Mitzvos u'Ma'asim Tovim. Shem Atoldos HaTzadikim Kipshat Ayad Yosef. So this is Mitzvos u'Ma'asim Tovim. Shem Atoldos HaTzadikim, which are the mitzvos and the ma'asim tovim are the what the tzaddikim give forth as the children. That's the legacy. That's the legacy of the tzaddikim, the mitzvos and the ma'asim tovim. Besides, of course, the children. Okay, the real the children, literal children, of course. But also we're talking about mitzvos and ma'asim tovim. Toldos HaTzadikim, which are this is the legacy of the tzaddikim. Kipshat Hayad, Kiposhat Hayad Yosef, Bezibuk Hagashmi, like the stretching forth of the hand of Yosef, Bezibuk Hagashmi, in the Bezibuk Hagashmi. As far as Zibuk, meaning a shidduch, getting married, etc. Hagashmi. Umizeh hatam lo nitna habechira lebnei adam. Umizeh hatam, and from this reason, lo nitna habechira. It was not given the bechira. It was not given choice lebnei adam to people. Kichol hataryag mitzvos aliday. Okay, this we can have to look into a little bit. These last points here. Lo nitna habechira lebnei adam was not the bechira. The choice was not given to the bnei adam. Kichol hataryag mitzvos aliday shem. Okay, so let's continue with the point. His father Moshe. This is what Moshe was davening for. Yifkod Hashem Elokei Ruchos. Hashem should appoint Hashem, the God of the winds and the spirits should, and meaning Haruchos means he knows the Ruach Adam. He knows the nature of man. Hashem, the one that knows the nature of man, should appoint Elokei Haruchos, Hashem Daika Shehu Elokei Haruchos. Daika, we stress that he is the Elokei Haruchos, the God of the spirits, the Chol Basar of every person. In other words, he knows everybody's leanings and their nature. Umakir Hatzivayim. And he understands their nature. B'yuchol lechavein hamanhig lebnei adam, and he is able to lechavein, to discern which should be the good person, the good manhig lebnei adam, for the people, and also he can discern. He can give the good eitzah to the manhig, to the person in charge, which is the way to lead the congregation. That they can be shavim mitzad echad, they can be similar, they can be of similar natures in one way, and also they can be this manhig, can be also against them also. In other words, if let's say he sees they're not learning, they're not doing mitzvahs, he can get up and say, yes, we have to do the right thing, the Torah, the mitzvos of the Torah. And so he should know when it's time to get up and go against the congregation. Even though they are two different things that are going against each other in one benosei echad, one conversation in one certain thing. Umiforish, and he explains, Asher Yetze Lifnehem. He should go out in front of them. He should go out in front of them. I say, Asher Yetze Lifnehem should go out in front of them. Rotzen Lomar Sheyaskim Imohim. Sheyaskim Imohim, that he should agree with them. V'yihyeh Shovim B'domim. And they should be Shovim, the same, B'domim, and similar. They should be equal and similar. V'gam Asher Yotziem Baal Korcham, and also he should be able to take them Baal Korcham against their will. Asher Yotziem. Asher Yetze Lifneim, which he should go in front of them. In other words, that's when everybody is on the same page, everyone agrees. They're similar and of the same nature. And also he should go, when it says Asher Yotziem, should go and take them Baal Korcham, against their will even. That sometimes he should be against them. In other words, he shows them the right way. He's the Wegweiser. He shows the right way. Kishenogeya bedavar Hashem. Kishenogeya bedavar Hashem. When it has to do with something that has to do with Hashem. V'lo yomer kesher l'chol asher yomer ha'om kesher. And he shouldn't say, we have a kesher to everybody. In other words, when he has to go up and tell them what's the story, what really Hashem wants, he has to be able to do that. Asher Yetze Lifnehem, that will go out in front of them, and then when they're all together, Asher Yotziem, Asher Yetze Lifnehem, Asher Yetze Lifnehem, Asher Yotziem. V'lechein shehem shnei avchim. Even though they are two separate things, Yifkod Hashem levado. Yifkod Hashem levado. Hatimunos hazos. Hashem himself should be the one to discern who is the right leader. Ki ma yuchal lechaven kizos im lo hatamim deim levado. Yovein. Hashem Moshe Rabbeinu was davening to Hashem, please go and appoint for us a person that will go out in front of us. That, in other words, that when we're all together, Asher Yotziem, Asher Yetze Lifneim, Asher Yotziem, that will go and take us out. This is when we don't agree. The manig knows to teach us to do the right thing. And who is the one that will be the one that teaches, that will pick the manig? This is Hashem. Even though they are two different things, different natures, different things, he has to have two different types of nature. The manig, the Yivkod Hashem levado. Hashem himself should be the one that appoints. Hatimunos hazos. These two different concepts. Kimi yuchal lechaven kizos. Who is able to understand this, to make the discerning decision about this? Im lo hatamim deim. If not the person, if not the one that is the perfect, the one that knows everything. Hashem that knows everything. He will be the one that will give us the right manig, the right leader. And who was the right leader? This was Yehoshua at the time. So Moshe Rabbeinu was davening that. So Moshe Rabbeinu was davening that Hashem should give us the right leader, and Hashem is the only one that's able to know who's the right leader. This is what Moshe Rabbeinu was davening for, and then we got Yehoshua. The Bnei Yisrael got Yehoshua, who was like similar to Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was comparable to the sun, and Yehoshua was similar to him. He was comparable to the moon. In other words, he was like similar. He was like a little bit of a, not quite like Moshe Rabbeinu, of course, but he was the great Talmud of Moshe Rabbeinu, and this is what Moshe Rabbeinu was davening for. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. And Kol Tov, and things should be good. Refuos and Yeshuvos, and things should be good for alle Yidden and allein Gesund. Kol Tov. Thank you so much.